everyone, and welcome to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode number 61, and the title of this episode is The Economic Collapse News. Very basic, very simple. We're just going to go over a couple things that's going on today, and let's just get started. There was an interesting article in Zero Hedge showing and visualizing the shrinking dollar, which I thought was very interesting. And basically, what it's showing you is how much buying power the dollar has lost over time. For example, in 1980, for 80 cents, you would get one loaf of bread. In 2012, 80 cents buys you 3 slices. So you can see that the dollar has lost its value because it takes more dollars to get the same exact thing. For another example, in 1980, oil was $1.35 for 1 gallon of gas. And today, instead of $1.35, it costs you about $3.49 right now. So you can see that the dollar over the time has lost its value, and if you compare this to gold, gold has gained in value, because if you really think about it, if you go back all the way to 1929, around that time, gold was $35 an ounce. Today, gold is 14 and change an ounce. So it takes so many more dollars to buy the same physical 1 ounce of gold. So we can see that the dollar is totally losing value over time, and over time it has lost approximately 94% of its buying power. That's what we're looking at right here. So if anyone that says cash is king, no, not really, because if you put the graph of the dollar compared to the graph of gold, gold is king. Cash is, I don't know, it's a downward graph going way down. Now, there was an interesting article in Investment Watch blog where it says, Red Alert, front side intel coming in. Trillions of dollars coming back to the U.S. Word on the street is that there are trillions of unused, unwanted U.S. dollars coming back to flood our markets in the next few weeks. So basically what they're saying is all this QE that they're printing, and we've been shipping inflation overseas, they're saying that the money is coming back to the United States. And for those people who've been following me, I once said in one of my episodes, I believe it was during the comparison of the Great Depression, and I said what I think is going to happen is we're going to see deflation first and then inflation, because I believe it's like a wave. You know, when a wave pulls back and all the water kind of disappears because it builds up the wave on the back end, so you're going to see deflation, and then when that wave comes crashing down and moves forward, that is the inflation. And basically this is what's happening. We've been exporting all our inflation out, and now we're seeing drops in prices. And if you look at my graphs, you can see things have been staying steady, or actually things have gone down in price. So you're seeing that deflation start to happen, and I believe once that money starts coming back, we're going to see a huge amount of inflation. Now you have to wonder, is that why the Fed is saying they're going to stop QE? Because they know all this money is coming back here home to America. Let's see here. Mark Farber is saying that something will break very bad. And basically he goes on to say, in the 40 years I've been working as an economist and investor, I have never seen such a disconnect between the asset market and the economic reality. Asset markets are in the sky, and the economy of the ordinary people is in the dumps. Where their real incomes adjusted for inflation are going down and asset markets are going up, something will break very bad. So he's telling you there's something wrong. And we all see it. We all know it. The only people that don't know it are the people who are sleeping, not awake. Ben Bernanke knows it. The government knows it. They know what's going on. But everyone else is just running around pretending that everything's okay. They're the ones who are going to be shocked. Now, in New York, an NYPD sergeant says guilty until proven innocent is just the price we have to pay for a free society. And he goes on to say, because of what's been happening, that the proof lies with the person charged, not the person bringing the charges. This flips our judicial system on its head. And if applied the way Mullen views it, puts accused citizens in the impossible position of trying to prove a negative. This is just completely wrong, and it's dangerously stupid. Because basically he's saying everyone is guilty and you have to prove them innocent. And he goes on to say, this is the price you pay to live in a free society right now. I mean, people are just crazy and losing their minds. I mean, because things happen, we do not change and we become fearful or scared. This is what rips a society apart. Fear and doing things you normally wouldn't do are things that break everyone apart and start implementing laws that you wouldn't normally do. You start doing things you wouldn't normally do. So we need to go back, and Judge Napolitano says the same exact thing. The system works. Let the entire system work the way it's supposed to, instead of trying to be scared, fearful, and say we have to do more. No, just let it work. Our founding fathers set it up so it would work in any instance, and it does. It's those people that have no idea what they're talking about, that are scared and trying to scare others, are the ones who are messing things up. Okay, let's move on here. Now, I don't know if everyone remembers, but during the Boston bombing, we had the Texas fertilizer plant blow up, and for a full day, we just heard about the Texas fertilizer plant, why they had to, come together, rework their story for the Boston bombing, and then the next day, the fertilizer plant was pushed to the off to the side, and Boston bombing was back on, because now they had their story, they had their suspects. And I showed a video of a missile hitting the fertilizer plant, and I said this was a distraction. And what's funny now is they're coming out with some story now that an unexpected twist in the case of a deadly blast at Texas fertilizer plant, that a first responder was arrested for possessing a pipe bomb, saying that that this person might have caused the entire explosion. Now, I think people are getting savvy to what happened, and these videos are coming out, and there are a lot of questions happening, and they're trying to cover this up with this person. And I mean, it looks like they're trying to lead this into some type of homegrown militant type of thing, and trying to blame it on certain groups. But we're going to have to watch this to see how this unfolds, because it just seems really strange at this point to start coming out with this kind of stuff. Now, we know that DHS has been buying up all the ammo, and people are also buying up a lot of ammo, especially preppers. And a police chief turns to town citizens for ammunition because he can't find any, and because of DHS buying all these rounds of ammo. And all I can say is thank God for the preppers who thought ahead to buy tons of ammo before DHS started, because right now the police chief, the police there have no ammo. So I mean, think about it. When people are making fun of people who are prepping, storing food, water, ammo, gold, silver, here's a perfect example. There's very little bit of ammo to find, and for those police departments and things like, they couldn't even find it. But guess who has it? The people who are smart and who are preparing and prepping. It's the same thing with like a storm. Those people who prepped for a hurricane were okay. I mean, I had relatives up in New York and New Jersey. They knew the hurricane was coming. They didn't do anything. No food, no water, nothing. No batteries, absolutely nothing. And they were stuck up there with nothing. And those people who were prepared had batteries, had light, had kerosene for their heaters, had water, had food, and they were able to survive. So the same thing that's going on right now. We have a collapse coming up, and we need to prep for this, and it's like a huge storm heading our way. You know it's coming, so you might as well get prepared for it. Now, moving on. There's an interesting story about the U.S. government might be the biggest hacker in the world, and it looks like the United States hacks more nations than hackers hitting us. So you have to start to wonder, and what's really going on here? And we know what is going on. The government of the United States is using the cyber attacks and trying to show that this is an act of war, because we need to get into a war to cover up the economic collapse. I know I've said this over and over and over, and we know this is coming. So they have been cyber attacking other nations to provoke them to cyber attack us. And once they cyber attack us, the false flag, a little help, getting the things going the way they want it to going, they can say, this is an act of war, we need to go to war, and this is why the government, the U.S., is being seen as one of the biggest hackers in the world right now. Now, we know that something is coming, and there's still continuous news agencies coming out saying that the U.S. is warning about a major cyber attack coming. And we see this over and over and over. We know something's coming. We just need to be prepared. Something's coming. When will it come? We don't know. It could be next week. It could be 3 weeks. It could be 4 weeks. It could be 2 months. We don't know. But with the case of the United States government putting together all these laws, the NDAA, the Patriot Act, pay China first, red alert, trillions of dollars are heading back to the United States in the next couple of weeks. They can't get the war started out in Syria, even with telling the American people they're using chemical weapons, trying to use the Boston bombing to get people to say, we have to stop Syria and Iran, and it's just nothing is working. So we know they're going to have to do something soon because things are starting to fall apart. And we know this is happening. We know it's coming soon. We know the economy is crumbling. Even Mark Farber says there's such a huge disconnect, and we know it. But you know what? Something will crack, something will give, because the central bankers, the government, they can do everything they possibly can, but the human factor is still there. And when that happens, and fear and people overreacting to something, that will trigger it. Something will happen, and then there'll be no stopping it. Listen, everyone, thank you for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thank you.